Welcome to Soundbreaker. In today's episode, we're talking to Judith Pinkerton, who is the founder and CEO of Music for Life, and Dr. Kevin McCall, who is the COO of Music for Life also. Kevin is from the military background, so he said he doesn't know what a doctor mean anymore because he's been used to being called sir. So we'll call you both if you like. Absolutely. So, okay, whoever wants to start first, ladies first, I guess we can. So, for our listeners and viewers who might not be familiar with both of you, and I'm extremely intrigued with what you guys do. It's definitely we're going to bring a different twist to Soundbreaker. Soundbreaker is always focused on music tech and the latest innovation and AI and all of that, and the music business itself. Where is it going, where it was, and what's the future going to bring? But what you guys bring, an important element in the music business and the music industry that sometimes is overlooked. So we're going to dive into it. It's going to be extremely insightful. Please introduce yourselves and some insights, and we're going to dive right into it.
Thank you so much, Bob. We're so thrilled to be here. So my name is
Likewise.
Judith, and I'm a board certified licensed music therapist. I'm one of over 10,000 music therapists in the United States. So we're a small profession. So I've had the distinct honor of serving in a variety of ways in this field, from being an internship director and online educator and published researcher and professional violinist. Recently, the Academy of Country Music, kind of interesting that they sought me out, honored me with the very first Lifting Lives honor back in 2018 with AFLAC. Um, so I've had a long history of applying music in a therapeutic way. I got my training through Arizona State University, and you have to not only complete a degree program, but you have to then uh, pass the national exam. And in Nevada, where I'm licensed as a music therapist, it became the very first state to issue the first music therapy license, which I earned
Hmm.
13 years ago. And since then, we now have 18 other states that formally recognize music therapy as a license or some form of state recognition. So I'm pleased to be here and to share more about what we're discovering in this space.
I knew what was wrong with me now. I should really seek the help of music therapy. That's what
Mm.
I really, I know what was wrong with me. Been in the business so long that I probably needed some music therapy. We're going to dive into that. This is something that's really got me interested to bring you both on the show. So, Dr. Kevin or Sir Kevin, please introduce yourself and a bit of your background and insights. I'm sure it's going to be very interesting for our audience at the Soundbreaker.
I appreciate the chance. For the last 30 years, I've been in the military. So, as an Air Force officer, I went in as a psychologist, excuse me. and for the first 15 years, I pretty much was a psychologist. I treated patients in mental health, worked with patients in mental health, wound up in some leadership roles and running mental health clinics. And then the Air Force decided that I need to do bigger things. So, I was taken out of mental health clinics for the most part and started running what we call squadrons, but people would know that as groups of clinics, basically outpatient clinics. So of all types. So I wasn't just mental health anymore. I was running family practice clinics, other clinics, to get people medicine that they need
Mhm.
in the Air Force. Ultimately ran in running to getting to the level of inpatient facilities and working with those as well. And then ended my career at the Air Force Special Operations Command here in Florida, where I was the deputy surgeon for that command. Um, Mostly going to meetings and administrative stuff then. So it was probably time for me to retire because I like the hands-on stuff better. I like helping people. So after 30 years, on August 1st, I took the uniform off. And before I got the uniform off, Judith reached out to me and offered this amazing opportunity to get involved in some, I call groundbreaking material. She's been doing it for 20 plus years, so not as groundbreaking for her, but we're hoping to break some ground with it.
Well, amazing achievement, I have to say, definitely, and thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
Um, Judith, what really got you involved into music therapy? How does the whole thing that music became a sanctuary, and what led to music therapy? This is something I personally want to know about more than our audience,
Yeah.
probably. But yes, I was actually looking forward to this interview.
Thank you. So I am sure that musicians out there might really resonate with this. I actually was a therapeutic musician before I became a music therapist. And how that occurred was being raised as a violinist. My father was actually my violin teacher, and we did a lot of amazing things together performance wise. And as I got older, had my own talent agency, started a music conservatory. And then I had this interesting experience in a hospital where a loved one at the time was going through emergency back surgery. This was
Hmm.
in Anchorage, Alaska. And I don't know, out of my love for him, I decided to record some solo violin music on my living room floor using a mono microphone at that time because it was a few decades ago. And what was astounding was that when he started listening to it in his hospital room after the surgery, the nurse had come in to read his vital signs. I still remember noon, and he's listening to this tape of my music. And she comes in 15 minutes later, reads his vitals, comes in another 15 minutes later. So it's 30 minutes listening to this recording of solo violin. And she whips around to me after reading his vitals and says, "What's he listening to?" I'm like, "Me?" I was very embarrassed about the recording because I had done it on my living room floor and not in a studio. And she goes, "What do you mean, me?" And I'm like, "Well, I play the violin." She goes, "Oh, this is impossible. I'm supposed to be giving him medication right now, and he doesn't need it." I'm like, "Well, isn't that good?" So what it ended up doing was replacing post-surgical high blood pressure medication because it brought his high blood pressure into normal range. So when that happened, I was stunned. And I thought, I want to do that for the rest of my life. And I need to tell everybody about this, not knowing that there was a music therapy profession in what we call the lower 48. So I moved to Las Vegas and bumped into a music therapist. Went to my first music therapy conference, cried throughout the entire thing way back in 1990, and decided that's where I wanted to focus my work. And then the rest is history. But finding out that music, not only for myself, was a sanctuary because I just loved playing the violin, but that it could be that for somebody else. And even more than that. And that's what really intrigued me. And I didn't have enough scientific evidence about why that was happening. So I really dove into the music therapy profession to learn more.
Any type of music, usually, any type of music or certain type of music, it would be used for therapy.
Music therapy honors all genres.
I mean, music makes people happy. It gives people goosebumps. They use it for everything. It makes you, gives you energy. People in the gym, they want to work out in aerobic classes. It brings that endorphin. Am I right? I'm not a doctor and I'm not a therapist. I don't want to sound like one. I would love to, but it gives you that. What's the word? Not energy, but it kind of increase your. I don't know, make your blood, I guess, flow much faster and more excitement and better. I guess music, yes, it does. It has a big impact on us more than we actually think. There'll be no aerobic classes, there'll be no classes without music. I do CrossFit, and in CrossFit gyms, they literally blast it out once the class starts. Once the countdown starts, and they blast it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it does give uh, that energy we look for, that extra push, and it's all has to do with psychologically and your blood pressure. Is that right? Am I right,
Yeah, so
Judith?
music instantly activates the central nervous system. So it has whole brain, whole body effect and powerfully influences our behavior, our emotions, and our physiology. So yeah, galvanic skin response, blood pressure, heart rate, neurotransmitters, which are the endorphins, serotonin, all of those endorphin or neurotransmitters, it absolutely influences. And so it's
Mm,
understanding from a scientific perspective how all of this works allows you then to harness the power of music and to apply it medicinally so that it powerfully affects positively your mindset, your emotions, your physiology, how you behave, how you interact with others. Yeah, it's very deep,
Hmm.
deep and broad.
Dr. Kevin, your input on that, it's really from her perspective. I want to get it from yours also as a doctor.
Right, right. It's really amazing when she mentions all the things it affects. Because as I listen to you talk about different places people use music, even in CrossFit, first thing that she's trained me to do now, I've been around here long enough, is I wonder what kind of music they're playing in that gym, and what real effect it's having on the people working out in that gym. Because many people often think that's good music and it's making them feel pumped up, etc. For some, music can actually inform, as I've learned from Judith and her team, can weaken people as well physiologically. So they think they're playing music that's helping them. It could be playing music that's actually hurting their workout. Um, and so that's what as we again, I can see as we go into this further, but that's part of what the focus as we go forward on this is: are people listening to music for the right reasons? Are they choosing the right music for the right occasion? Is it
Hmm.
really having the effect on them that they think it is? Um, and those are the things that, as I've been around Judith, I've been around her for now over 20 years, but more recently, boy, I can't get my throat cleared tonight. Sorry. More recently, it's the idea of what does music really do to people? What's the impact it has? Because it has a different impact on everybody. To the point of, I don't know if you've ever driven around and heard a car go driving by and the music's blasting out through the windows, and it either has a great impact on you or you're like, gosh, close your windows. Why are you sharing that stuff? Sounds horrible. I don't want to hear that music. It depends again what's being played where. So I think for me, it's more about people interpreting music and using it for what it's needed to be used for in their life at that moment. And oftentimes we just turn on the music, and we have oftentimes a playlist that we like. We just hit play and it does randomly selects through it, and you listen to the music, not knowing that some of those songs on that playlist might not be having the effect on you that you want it to have.
Hmm.
And that's the point of music therapy and music therapists.
I mean, it's not also for physical activity, also for mental concentration. There's a lot of people that I know they cannot study or read or do numbers or accounting without having their headphones and listening to the music that kind of gives them that, puts them in the mood, I
Right,
guess, in the more focused mood. Yeah. Whatever,
right,
could be anything, could be classical, could be rock, could be dance, could be upbeat music, could be hip hop,
right.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I used to think that all rap was bad because I just didn't like the stuff I was listening to. But then I start going into the genre more, and there's often rap in there that I guess matches my mood or matches my situation, and I actually can listen to and like it.
Yeah.
And the other piece of music too is that we haven't talked about is the words that are spoken too. So I think oftentimes, like for me, I laugh because my wife and I listen to some of our kids' music, and I can't understand what the words are, and so I
Hmm.
have to have them tell me what the words say, and then when I hear the words, I'm like, oh, ugh, I don't that doesn't match my brain very well with what I want to hear. I like the beat of the music, but I don't necessarily like the words. Now that you say it, now that I can hear those words, you told me what they meant. It was probably better when I couldn't hear them.
Well,
So,
I think relating to both of you, to what you're saying, one of the newest things that it started actually in video games, they call it adaptive music. Just by the word adaptive, you know what it means. It means the music changes throughout whatever they play in the video, throughout whatever the 3 minutes, the 5 minutes, the 10 minutes, different songs, different beats, definitely different songs based on the mood or on the situation.
right.
And I think um, something I had an interview with somebody and they were talking about that cars now they want to kind of implement that mood, that kind of adaptive mood in the car based on your emotions. I don't know how would it read it by the pulse, when you do this stairmaster, you hold the rail and it kind of rates your heartbeats and all of that. I said by holding the steering, maybe they would have something like this that kind of rates your heartbeat and your emotions. It would read it and the music changes as you're driving. But yes, yes, yes. Actually, you know what? Yes, music has so much influence on us as humans, and some people underrate it. You know that how can you concentrate? How can you focus? And you're listening to music. You know, I'm sure you heard that term all the time, whether you're young, your parents, or somebody. No, you need to focus. But actually, music sometimes, or most of the time, help people to focus on whatever they're looking at, or they're studying, or they're doing, or researching. But please, I mean, this is about you guys. So I am actually intrigued by it. So I don't want to take that away from you guys because you both have so much to say. So please take it away.
One of the things that, well, not one thing, but huge thing is the mental health crisis that's going on. Um,
Yes.
264 million people around the world are depressed.
Wow.
86 million in the United States are challenged with anxiety disorders or substance use disorders.
And that increase, not to interrupt, increases the chances of committing or harming yourself. We don't want to
Hmm.
say the word suicide, but harming yourself,
Yes,
ending
yes.
your
So,
life. Yes,
right. And
because of it, being
right. And
depressed.
so
Yeah.
I tend to refer to it as being injurious to self or others because there's a lot of violence out there as well.
Yes.
And when you get trapped in certain mindsets, we tend to listen to music that resonates with us. And you may misinterpret the energy that you're in and thinking that you're just really energized right now when you're actually angry. And choosing to use music, listen to music that resonates with that energy, which can perpetuate anger, rage, and resulting problems. The same thing, so that's a danger zone. If you get trapped in that mood, you start misinterpreting it and utilize music that actually fuels it. And your perception could be is that it's managing your mood, but actually it's just keeping you trapped in the mood. Another danger zone is anxiety. You may just feel that you're excited all the time, and it erupts into panic attacks when it's unmanaged.
Hmm.
And to be able to use music, people will tend to, and this is based on my experience with working with more than 11,000 patients in residential addiction treatment centers. I've discovered that, and I love EDM, but I've discovered that those that tend to have anxiety challenges love EDM because of the way that it is put together that helps to soften the anxiety, but yet there's a bed of faster music in EDM that helps contain it and not actually get rid of it. And so you're not getting rid of anxiety, you're not reducing it significantly, you're softening it. So that's a danger zone because anxiety, fear, there's just so many problems physically that can come from chronic anxiety. Another danger zone is depression. People that are trapped in depression just feel like they're calm, leave me alone, and they'll utilize music to keep them in that trapped state. And so it's very important to have conversations with people when you know that they've got the headsets on. It's like, well, what are you listening to? Unfortunately, I've been aware of way too many people who have died by suicide and the music they were listening to before that occurred.
Based on the music. Wow. Okay.
So there's danger zones that you may not be aware of that you are trapped in and
Hmm.
utilizing music that you think is helping you but is not. So these we call these chronic comfort zones, and they really relate to this whole idea that came out about what 17 years 14 years ago, about invisible wounds, where the military recognized that invisible wounds exist.
Hmm.
And I can relate those to these chronic comfort zones in that you don't know that you're in it. You don't know that you have been wounded. And people refer to their music as their therapy. My music is my therapist. It helps me, it validates me, it makes me feel whatever, good. And instead, it can actually be keeping you trapped in that. So when I hear somebody say, oh, yeah, I listen to music 24/7, if I don't, man, it's all over. That's actually self-medication with music, and it is not taking care of the problem. It's just perpetuating it.
I heard there are certain sounds. I mean, that goes to both of you. I was this question. That there's certain sound could treat and trigger certain things in your body that you like, and whether it's motivational or depression or lack of energy in certain areas, uh, and treat other things also. Sounds. There's certain sounds that they use for therapy, and I actually I came across somebody they had an idea, I guess. Well, she's an expert in that field, where sounds, uh, using sound for treatment, certain sounds. We're not talking about just any type of song, or no, just particular sounds that kind of uh, able to connect with your body and your mind, that would treat diabetes, treat certain things. And I was kind of, is that true, as a doctor and as an expert, both in that field, in the therapy field, and so please, I was just something that I came across not too long ago, and I just wanted, is that true though?
There are so many different fields
This is
in
certain waves, sound
sound
waves, that,
healing
yes.
and music. So sound healing is like a different area, so that they're not calling themselves music therapists,
No.
because ours is absolutely an
Holistic healers, that's what they are.
yeah. So holistic healers, sound healing. There is research, but not the significant research bed that music therapy has,
Got it.
documenting outcomes. So I can't really speak to it. In our
Mhm.
trainings, where we seek to train people and teach people about how to do this themselves, to become self-reliant, uh, it is honoring 10 music elements in music. And so in these courses that we offer, you actually go in and notice how your behavior, your emotions, your physiology is responding to all these different genres, and helping you to make discernment about how your own playlists are working for you or not. And then how to build specialized playlists that can be used in such a medicinal way,
Mhm.
that our protocol has had the influence, with physicians directing cessation, reduction, or prescription of medication. So when you can apply music in a medicinal way with this protocol, you can have significant effect.
Hmm.
I became kind of one of her subjects on that matter. So, even though I followed Judith all these years and have been popping in and out kind of with her music and what she's doing with this development, as I retired, she offered one of her courses to me, a clinical specialist course to take. And so I took it. It was about a 2-week course. Um, I honestly went into this course with complete skepticism. I was trying to be that psychologist based on what I knew and what I've been taught in terms of therapy and helping people. I wasn't that immersed in music. I listened to music like everyone else, but I didn't know much about what music can and can't do. So I went into it with yeah, she's offering me this course. Why not take it? But, Judith, I don't know this is really going to work or not. I didn't say that to her up front. I just took the course and tried to stay open minded to the course, but I knew there was skepticism at the back. And so I took this course. As I went through the course, she had actually warned me about 3-4 days in. She said, "You're going to hit rock bottom. You're going to have this like total release of emotions that you won't understand completely. You won't know why, but just letting you know about that time, you're going to hit that." And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking she can't predict that. That's not in her. That's not going to happen. I'm telling you, within almost the exact timeline, 3 to 4 days in, I had that rock bottom feeling with emotions that were all over the place. Didn't know why I was
Wow.
feeling them exactly. Um,
Amazing.
yeah, it was crazy. And I followed prescriptively, went through what she had done and developed in this course. As I went through that, though, it was interesting because, you know, I had no idea this could happen. I had no idea what I was listening to would have that kind of effect. It was amazing to go through this prescriptive list where I could feel the emotions I was dealing with, whether it was anxiety or some sadness at the time. Then I felt relaxed. And then as I finished the music prescription, I felt more energized as I wrapped up and went on each day as I had this exercise of doing this twice a day. And in the end, learned a lot about what I'm listening to and what I'm doing. I used to listen to Christian music every day to work, and on back, I had Caleb on the station, listen away, listen to that music, and thought I was listening to music that was comforting me, getting me relaxed to go to work, and then on the end of the day, wrapping up, kind of releasing the stress of work and going home and relax. But through this course, I discovered I was locked in a zone where I really was doing more sadness in that music than I was positive emotions. That
Wow.
a lot of the Christian music was reminding me of my deceased father and the problems that him not being here and things like that. That I really wasn't always in the mood state that I thought I was with that music, and learned to use music differently. I had a bicycle accident about a year and a half ago now, and was getting back after this course to start writing again, and expected that after not writing for a year and being in my wonderful mature age that I am, that I wouldn't do so good. I'd be physically winded, exhausted, and in a lot of pain. And when I used a playlist that I put together with Judith's help for doing this ride, I didn't have the pain level I thought, and actually rode almost twice as long in terms of distance than I thought I was going to be able to, with listening to this music as I rode. The trouble with something like this, of course, if you want to be a scientist on this, obviously I'd need to be hooked up to all kinds of machines while I rode to see what my brain's doing
Yeah.
while I'm listening to this music to really scientifically prove that it was the music that did it. But I've ridden enough, I've been riding for over 30 years on a bike, and know my body well enough to know that the only explanation I have for being better off was the music I was listening to. So the power is tough to tell someone to believe in it, because again, yourself, you've been listening to music for your whole life. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're listening to the wrong music at different times, because that's not my judgment. But in a lot of cases, we're listening to the wrong music in our lives, and for the purpose of what we think the music's doing for us. But I became kind of one of her subject and now advertisements for it, because I went in skeptical and came out believing. So more than I did before. I mean, I've never doubted what she does helps, because she's done a lot of great courses and programs for the military as she popped in my life and kept bringing more to the military that I would arrange or set up in our installations. But to experience, it's a whole different thing than watching it. And it really was amazing. It is amazing.
And I guess that's where Music for Life came together, between you being partners or involved.
Yeah, I'll never forget having a radio syndicator take me to lunch and say, Judith, at the time I had a radio show. This was like 23 years ago. Judith, I want to syndicate your radio show, and you need to call it something. I'm like, I don't know. What do you think? She goes, how about Music for Life? Oh, that's kind of catchy. At the time, nobody was using that phrase. So we did trademark it. So we actually own the brand on Amazon and so on. But Music for Life kind of grew out of my life experience.
Yeah.
And it just really describes that. Music is for life.
Whoa. So that's very simple, straight to the point. I like it. And how did Kevin or Dr. Kevin, you guys became together, like partner up, became partners? Say, hey, I mean, was it from the beginning or late after retirement, after you took a course and you kind of like got intrigued and say, you know what? I want to come in. I want to be part of Music for Life, part of the journey, part of the mission.
Judith, I mean, I'm involved because Judith reached out and actually asked me to be involved officially. But really, I went through the whole time of 30 years of being in the military, and I came out with, I still have a license. I still can be a psychologist, can treat patients, but it's not something that I'm really interested in doing directly. I still want to help people. And when she and I talked about what she's doing, where she's going with her company, I can still be a part of doing good things for mental health as a organization, as a culture, as a
Yes.
a need in the country, and still do this and not have to be directly doing inpatient or outpatient direct care with people. I did that for over 20 years, direct patient care. And for those out there that do it, I just admire them to no end, because it's an exhausting career field. Mm-hmm. It's very taxing. Day in and day out, they are dealing with people's lives in their hands and worrying as they leave to whether or not they've done the right things and those people are safe or not. And when they were successful, they're bringing some great positive additions to people's lives that no longer have the burden with whatever they brought into the office or on the computer nowadays that you can do online therapy. They've left behind after doing some successful therapy with somebody that's willing to listen and to help them. So I want to be able to give back to that career field. And I think by doing what we can moving forward, where we see Music for Life going, we can do that.
Yeah. So Bob, what we're doing, we're targeting mental health providers. There's only 1.2 million mental health providers in the United States to serve 55 million clients with diagnoses. Its caseloads are unrealistic. We know there's not enough mental health providers in rural areas. So what we've been doing is focused over the last 13 years in taking what's been really successful in clinic and transferring it and creating do-it-yourself tools, online training, subscription sources, created a patent, actually got a patent for our music app, wrote a new book to match the app that came out, so that people really will have in their hands tools to be able to manage significant anger, anxiety, depression, and sadness, to feel greater peace, greater joy in life right now. This can happen once you understand how the system works. It can happen in as little as 15 minutes once you understand how to populate specialized playlists and then curate a prescriptive playlist out of those specialized playlists to create what we call a music medicine pill, following a certain exercise regimen. So we have the Key to Me music app is interesting. Key to Me, KEY, the number 2, MEE, it's not a typo. MEE stands for Music Exercising Emotions. And you're actually decoding yourself, in your music and your habits. What is that? So when you open up the app, which you can get on Apple or Android with Google Play, Key to Me, and you'll see an RX with a music note on it for the icon. When you go in to download it, it's free right now in version 1.0. You take an emotional profile quiz, and you understand from your emotional profile quiz if you indeed might be trapped in what we call the chronic comfort zone, not recognizing that invisible wound that you might be carrying around and don't know it's there. And then we have a lot of resources that are available with trainings, with prescriptive playlists, with books, all these do-it-yourself tools to help people feel better now.
So listening to music is an exercise for the mind.
Mm-hmm.
There's a physical exercise, but the mind need also a
Mm-hmm.
physical exercise, listening.
Mm-hmm.
What about singing along? Also, does that trigger certain emotions, certain cells in your body? Because talking always, you see how people get emotional when they talk, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
happy, and when they're talking about something. Would singing also give you that energy? Because that's also exercise,
Oh, absolutely. Singing oxygenates the body.
Yes.
Greater oxygen, greater health benefit.
Wow. Amazing. This is really deep and interesting and amazing. And I love just the whole concept of it. Is mental health, obviously, and we're both focusing on mental health in the music,
Mm-hmm.
in the music therapy arena or field, is being ignored a lot, is one of the biggest, and a lot of, not just old people suffer from it, young people suffer, teenagers suffer from it,
Mm-hmm.
all top people my age, and people younger than me, people older than me, and is it something kind of ignored, or now it's really becoming on the forefront? Because everybody talk about blood pressure, to talk about cancer, to talk about other things, but I feel sometimes mental health is always been pushed back.
I think from
Yeah.
a
And
global
go ahead,
perspective on
Kevin.
that, sorry,
Yeah,
Judith. Yeah, from a global perspective, I think it's been on the rise in terms of attention. I mean, I think over the years, I just don't know if I don't know if it can go as fast as the need is out there to get the attention. I think that's the trouble. I mean, even coming out of the military, it was very much focused on, but at the same time, resources are limited. So, you only have so many providers out there that can see the patients. So, like Judith mentioned, the overwhelming number of patients out there with a very limited number of people that can help them. So it's tough to get enough people in when they need it, where they need it. Like she mentioned, rural areas are hurting, of course, and some cities are overwhelmed. Some companies are overwhelmed. They don't have enough providers to answer the call that's out there. I think more and more resources are being available. I just don't know if it's coming fast enough to meet the need.
I heard a lot of people after they retire from the military, whether they retired at a young age or old age, nobody talks about it. It's a big problem, I heard, and because of it, people harming themselves at a young age. Of all ages. I spoke to somebody who he's in his early 40s, and he's like, I've been dealing with it for 18 years. I was like, no
Right.
way. I was surprised. This guy's in amazing shape in the gym, constantly in the gym. And we had a talk, and kind of blow me away at the numbers that he gave me, that people harming themselves on a weekly basis just from the military
Right.
after they retire. Young
Well,
women, young men.
it speaks again. I mean, it speaks to another agency or organization that's also shorthanded, and that's the VA, of course.
Yes.
The VA has been fighting this for years and trying to get more resources and more meeting the needs. But again, it's a finite resource. Both dollars and people are finite. So
Hmm.
only so much can be allotted towards it from the government level. Private sectors out there, of course, are trying to keep up. And companies, large companies out there that
Yes.
have providers
Yes.
are trying to keep up. But I mean, you got to have the providers, whatever specialty that is, to be able to do the job. And then they got to hang in there. And again, like I said, mental health, it's an exhausting field. It's very difficult to do that all day long for 5 days a week, to just listen, absorb people's problems one after another, and then carry the burden of, did you make the right call? Are they safe?
And music therapy is the key to try to solve some of these issues and some of these problems. And, by providing, I would say, the natural way of medicine, music,
Hmm.
extremely natural, yes.
You
And
know,
bring a smile to somebody's face also.
it's interesting. I get a lot of comments about, oh yeah, I know how to do that. I'm like, you don't know what you don't know. So invariably, after taking one of our trainings, they're like, "Oh my gosh, now I know what I didn't know."
I want to take one now after you both told me about it. After Dr. Kevin took your course and he said, whoa. So listening to the right music and the wrong music, you could subdue certain emotions as you
Yeah.
said, you're really not treated, you have to listen to the right music to kind of treat it, because you could be, as you said, just soften it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, like even you mentioned, you mentioned physical exercise and working out. I mean, as you well know, if you use the equipment wrong, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah. 100%.
You know,
100%.
so you need someone to teach
100%.
you how to use the equipment. It's those guys that jump into those, whatever the equipment is, and like, I know this equipment, I've used this before, but it's a variant of that equipment, or not quite the same, and they use it wrong, and then next thing you know, they pull a muscle, hurt something. It's no different. Music's a tool as well. It's equipment, and there's lots of
Wow.
music out there to choose from, and it's just we want people to be educated properly to use it as they want to use it for the purpose that they want to use it for.
Is music in our DNA? Because it could be used emotion. I mean, music it kind of literally controls someone's emotion.
Hmm.
Highly
Huh.
Yeah.
impacts. I mean, you mentioned vehicles with road, being controlled and listening to music and have pulse on the wheel. I immediately thought about, well, would we have less road rage if we had some kind of system like that would actually help that?
Yes, adaptive music. Yes,
Not too long
adaptive
ago, I
music.
was driving with somebody that was playing music on the radio that was pretty hard rock music playing, and the person was driving quite aggressively, in my opinion, as they were driving. Was the music making that happen, or was that personality driven, or is it both? I mean, without digging in and getting to know the person and what's going on and what that music means to them and what they're hearing and how that affects them, I don't know. But there's certainly that thought of, wow, maybe if you listen to a different music, you wouldn't drive as aggressively
Hmm.
right now, and slow down a little bit and be safer. So
Judith and Dr. Kevin, what if some how could somebody reach out to you? Just go to Music for Life. Music for Life.
Yeah.
The
So
letter
it's,
four. Yes, the number four. I'm sorry. Music number four.
yeah.
Life.
So it's
Yes.
the musicforlife.com. So it's
Then musicforlife.com.
music, the number four life.com. And we are going through a brand new website redesign. So it's going to look
Amazing.
totally different within a month. So I'm just advising, keep checking it out, because it's going to look very different, targeting, what we have found to be very important in this day and age. So that website's probably about 5 years old now.
Hmm.
So it's getting upgraded tremendously with the new app out and so on. So yeah, I encourage anybody that is interested in utilizing music to consider downloading the app, take the free course that's there called "Is Your Music Toxic?" Find out what it says, and then there's other options for you to explore as well. And then try some of the prescriptive playlists on the app and see what works for you in managing anger or in managing depression or anxiety, and see if these generic playlists that we have been utilizing might be a possibility. And reach out to us. We're going to be offering in our version 2.0 on the app, uh, actually being able to create your own personalized prescriptive playlist. Imagine opening the app, taking the emotional profile quiz, understanding what you're saying about yourself, and then how to dive in and create a personalized prescriptive playlist that you then listen to and track your progress as you shift and change, meeting your outcomes and your goals that you've identified. That is all going to be on the app as soon as we complete version 2.0.
Amazing. You mentioned you have a book coming out.
The
Is the
book
book
came out
out
in
yet or no?
August. The book
In
came out in
August. Give us
August.
the
Yep.
title of the book, please, so we can at least get you more people to download it or buy it,
Thanks.
physical or
Thanks.
download.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. You can get it in Kindle, hardcover, or paperback. It's called Thriving Through Adversity: Prescriptive Playlists to Reclaim Peace, Purpose, and Joy in Life.
Yes, I like it. Dr. Kevin, any books on the rise or anything in the works, possibly?
No, not for me. I haven't been a writer yet. That's something I haven't delved into. Again,
I
something
think
that you're just trying to push me into.
you,
But
you did accomplish a lot, being in the military, being a doctor, and coming in and contributing more than what you've done. It's amazing. Any advice for both of you? Obviously, would love to hear each one. For anyone that who kind of feels who never tried this before, just on a simple way, just to kind of to put their life back in order, or to bring some happiness, or to give them that motivation they look for, whether it's in the morning or in their uh, life situation right now, whatever it is, just to give them that positive step forward,
Yeah,
that outlook. Don't look down, keep your head up, and just look as far as you could see, and breathe, and just go forward, because life will continue. You
yeah.
know, sun will rise again. So please, an
And
advice from each one of you.
so analyze the music that you're listening to and see if you can describe it as a theme song. And in that theme song, see if you can categorize it into one of three areas. Is it a theme song that describes your past, or a theme song that describes your present situation, or a theme song that describes what you desire? And in
Mhm.
doing so, you can see how that might be driving your life. If you have found a song that you're listening to a lot, what is that song about? And how is it matching what you're experiencing? Because music has that subliminal effect. In
Which one is the best? The one what do you desire?
well, once you've been able to identify what the past and the present are bringing you, and then what you do desire in the future. So sometimes it gets um, confusing. So a music therapist is really good in helping you discern about that. But we do have an overarching mission, Bob, and that mission is to change the culture of music creation and music consumption, because we realize that there's kind of a chicken and the egg scenario going on here. Is it the
Hmm.
unsettling music that is creating the unsettledness in society, or is it the unsettledness in society that is creating the music? So I do know that many artists create music out of their trauma. And
Correct.
then in
True.
performing it, people resonate with it. Yes, you're talking my story. That's my story. I love it. And it becomes a number one hit, right? And then I've worked with major artists in addiction treatment centers, so I'm very aware about the music industry requiring them to perform these number one hits that people want to hear, that were born out of their trauma, and they have to relive that trauma every night on tour. And then what happens? Addiction, substance use, death by suicide. It's a problem, and these are danger
Yes.
zones. So
Correct.
we are here to change the culture of music creation and music consumption, and to break that unsettling cycle.
Dr. Kevin, your
that's,
advice?
that seemed like a great wrap up, actually. But no, what I would say to that, as I look at back in my life and as I treat people, one of the biggest things I used to tell people to do is look at what's in their life that they can control and what they can't control.
Hmm.
So to translate into the world of music and music selection, it's the same thing. You can control what you listen to. You can control what if you're a musician, what you choose to play.
Correct.
Um,
Yes.
so be aware of the impact and the effect of that music on you as a person. Not again for those that are artists, they worry about who they're playing to, but like Judith mentioned, for an artist who plays something that's painful for them over and over again because that's what their record label or whoever it is that's pushing them to play that music, that's harmful to them. And it's a shame that we're in an industry that pushes people to harm themselves in order to be either more popular, make money, whatever the reason is that's driving you to go that route. So again, going back to you have a choice. We want people to be educated in their choice of music so that they choose what's good for them moving forward. And internally, it's something they incorporate, bring into their bodies. It affects their bodies, and therefore, oftentimes, their emotions and thinking going forward. So it's about making a choice, and it's about having control over that choice. And we'd love to be able to educate people on those choices, so that they can make better ones for themselves.
Amazing. Now, both of you, this question to both before we wrap it up. Last question just came to mind. Have you thought of prescribing your own music to patients, people who seeking help, and say, you know what, we're gonna give you the music as a treatment? You're creating your own playlist, but being the playlist actually been produced and written and composed by you guys, like your own special, customized music based on the scenario or the patient that's seeking help or the person that's seeking help.
Yeah, that's coming. I mean, that'll be in the app. And
Are you
there's
producing it?
just
Are you
so much.
producing it, Doctor or Judith? Either one of you? I know you're a musician, so you have that in you.
Yeah, we have sources. Yeah, we
You
have sources.
do.
We've already been doing it, but what I hear you saying is that um, possibly through the use of AI. I'm not happy with AI right now as far as it recommending music based on our system. It's doing it incorrectly, and I'm scared about people going, oh, I can just use AI to create these prescriptive playlists. No, you can't, because there's not enough data yet for AI to hang its hat on and recommend
Correct. Especially
appropriately.
for that, yes, particular
Yeah.
thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's coming. It's coming. We're absolutely on the cutting edge of all this.
Lovely. Well, this is absolutely intriguing and amazing. And I really thank both of you for joining me on Soundbreaker. You know, this has been amazing, educational, mind opening, and insightful, really. Judith, thank you for bringing Dr. Kevin to the interview. I know we were talking first, and he said, "Hey, it's not going to happen without Dr. Kevin, without my good friend Kevin." So we brought you in. Again, thank you for your service, sir. And I just want to say thank you for being on Soundbreaker today. And please make sure to follow us on socials and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you
All
very
right.
much, both.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share the Soundbreaker podcast. And if you are joining us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.